Nightfall in Louisville, Kentucky. Weary citizens soon will snuggle up in their nice warm beds, ready for a restful night's sleep. Good luck with that.
Louisville is now ranked the #1 city when it comes to sleeplessness.
Radio host Terry Miners is quoting a new study done by Bert Sperling of the best and worst places to live fame.
People who live here report having an average of 9 days monthly without restful sleep.
It's not a distinction Louisville wants, but it doesn't surprise Miners.
I drove to work this morning at 5:15 and I saw 30 people out for a run and a few people sitting on benches. I wasn't intrigued by the people running, but the ones sitting on benches really blew my mind. Yeah. Why aren't you home in bed?
They can't sleep.
What are you, waiting for the diner to open? Go back to bed. They'll have pancakes at 7:30.
But why is it so hard to sleep here? Some theories: Louisville has a huge UPS hub. A lot of people work the overnight. They're obviously not sleeping. There's a giant construction project blocking a major bridge, forcing commuters to spend hours in traffic when they should be in bed. And that's not the only stress. Louisville ranks high in unemployment and divorce. But then, of course, there are folks like Miners.
I'm one of those people who does wake up about 3:30 in the morning. I don't know why, but I start tumbling through what I'm going to do the next day.
We've all been there, occasionally. But what if it were night after night? You put on your jams, turn out the light, hop into bed, and nothing. No matter how many sheep you assemble and count, you simply cannot fall asleep. A Sunday morning poll found half of all Americans have trouble sleeping at least once a week, and more than a third more often than that.
These are people with insomnia. They have the time to sleep but can't sleep 3 or more times per week, a month or longer.
Psychologist Wendy Troxell of the University of Pittsburgh Sleep and Chronobiology Center says 20 to 30 million American adults suffer true insomnia. How do they stand it? I mean, there's nothing worse.
Yes. Well, it's one of these things that we all experienced once or twice or, around stressful times. But when you think about what it's like to experience it nightly over months and months and years, it truly is crazy making.
As shown in this demonstration, doctors at the center hook people up to monitors and study their brains while they sleep. What they found is eye-opening.
We bring them into the lab. They may say that they didn't sleep at all, but we'll have data to suggest that they did sleep. Now, this doesn't mean that they're lying, though. It just means that their experience of sleep is part of the problem. Even when we objectively show that they're sleeping, it still doesn't feel like sleep.
Actually, this is a comparison of people with insomnia and good sleep.
Troxell's colleague, Dr. Daniel Bicey, says insomniacs' brains are hyper-aroused. So while the brain of a good sleeper shuts down at night, an insomniac's brain is always on, no matter what time of day.
So it could actually be that when people with insomnia report being aware of their environment, being awake all night, they may actually have increased activity in some brain regions despite the electrodes on their head appearing to be asleep.
All that brain activity comes at a price. A recent Harvard study found that insomnia costs the U.S. workforce $63.2 billion annually.
We know that people with insomnia have worse functioning at work. There have been some studies that show that they have more sick days and have higher health costs. That increases the risk for subsequent conditions like depression, anxiety disorders, and even substance use.
It's enough to keep you up at night. And that goes double for women.
Women are twice as likely to have insomnia as men.
And Troxell's studies have shown a nightly battle of the sexes can claim plenty of casualties.
What we do know is that a sleep problem in either partner causes relationship problems for both.
Which, in a vicious cycle, then causes more sleep problems.
When you're lying next to a partner that may actually cause vigilance and anxiety, that would likely disrupt sleep.
Somebody you're angry at.
Exactly.
Have you been able to quantify the idea that good relationships make for good sleep?
women who are higher in marital happiness have significantly lower risk of having insomnia as compared to women who are unhappily married or unpartnered women.
The quest for that elusive sleep leads right to the medicine cabinet. Americans spent roughly $2 billion on sleep aids last year, filling some 60 million prescriptions. How would you describe Americans' relationship with sleeping pills?
I would describe it as a love-hate relationship. There's this kind of mystical quality in many Americans' minds about the power of sleeping pills.
Despite the fact, she says, that sleeping medication does not do what people think.
They are not going to knock you out. They kind of tip you over your natural sleepiness, but they are not going to take you from a state of wide awakefulness to sleep.
Oh, thank you.
30-year-old Jamie Dell says she tried sleeping pills and everything else for the insomnia that has plagued her since high school.
Definitely there's anxiety involved and almost a feeling of dread at night because I would anticipate waking up and being tired and not being able to fall asleep at all hours of the night.
Dell is sleeping much better today, thanks to Dr. Bicey, but at first his approach baffled her.
He recommended minimizing the time I spent in bed, and I didn't understand how this was going to work because I felt I needed to be in bed a longer time so I could get enough sleep. But what he did was move my bedtime later, and I had a specific wake-up time as well. But it definitely has helped my body to get on a cycle.
So you're basically saying that sleep deprivation can be used to treat insomnia.
Exactly right.
And when compared with sleeping pills, that actually works better long term. You make them stay awake a longer period of time, so what? They're just pushed to the level of exhaustion?
I like to think of it as increasing their sleep drive, increasing their natural sleep drive.
But if that sounds like torture to you, you can always just move your bed, say to Honolulu. Honolulu, the city now ranked #1 as the best place in the country for a good night's sleep. Sleep is such a good thing.
It is a good thing. A good night of sleep feels so good. A good night of sleep affects everything.